Okay, good morning again, everyone. I think we'll get started. My name is Maeve Howlett, and I have recently started here in St. Joseph's Foundation as Children's Disability Network Manager for the Northwest Cork area. I'm joined this morning by Mary O'Dwyer, who many of you already know, who is now the Children's Disability Network Manager for Northeast Cork, and by Claire Mortel, who is Interim Children's Services Manager here at St. Joseph's Foundation. So if you bear with me, I will share our presentation. So this morning, we are going to talk to you about a national initiative that is the Progressing Disability Services Programme led by the HSE. We would like to welcome you all and thank you for attending the presentation. We know that this is a difficult week for many, with children home from school, with the continuing COVID level 5 restrictions, and not to mention the weather. So we really do appreciate your time. We know time is precious. So as I said, Progressing Disability Services is a new model of services for children's disability services that has been rolled out nationally. We're going to get started with the presentation now. There will be some time at the end to answer questions. We hope that you find the presentation helpful, and if you have any additional questions, you can contact any of us here at St. Joseph's or some of your existing team. So just to start, just to do a little bit of, I suppose, virtual housekeeping, live streaming is new to us, so bear with us. MS Teams is the platform that's available to us and that was recommended for us to use. If you lose connection, it seems to be quicker to disconnect completely and rejoin via the link that you were emailed. We are hoping to record this event so it can be shared online, but just to assure you, you're not visible on camera and your microphone is not turned on, so you will not feature in the recording. There is also a built-in delay in the system. It's around 20 seconds or so we might pause for longer than usual when we answer questions at the end of the session. So just a little bit about the questions and answers box. On the right-hand side of your screen, there's a little symbol with a question mark. If you type questions here during the presentation, we will answer as many as we can for you. We ask you to please ask questions anonymously, or you can include your first name if you wish. Please do not put any details about your child or any other child or any specific clinicians or therapists into this box. We can only answer general questions on this live stream. The question and answers box is moderated. This just means that questions are reviewed before they are posted on your screen. That's to ensure that anybody's personal details aren't shared. Again, bear with us. We apologise in advance if anyone experiences difficulty with IT. We will make the presentation available afterwards. So just before we get into it, could we just trial the questions and answers box to see if you can access it? So if you could type in what your favorite color is into the questions and answers box, and we will publish some of the answers to see that you can see the questions coming up. So if you just type in your favorite color for me. Oh, and I can see a few answers coming in there. We have pink, blue, purple, black, etc., etc. So that just shows us that the questions and answers box is working. Thank you. Okay, so we'll get started properly. So What is the national vision for services for children who have a developmental delay or a disability? The national vision is that there would be one clear pathway for children with disability or developmental needs to access services, and this would be according to their needs and not according to their diagnosis. It is one clear pathway for all children with disability or delay according to their needs, and also as close to home as possible. The idea is that there would be fairness of access, that there would be equity or fairness of access, and that we would have effective team working in partnerships with families and education staff, including preschools and schools, and our other health professionals that our families would be linked with. Also, we were hoping to make the best use of finite resources. So we have only a certain amount of resources, and we want to make the best use of them for the benefit of children and families. We want the services to be for families and children to be child and family centred. So we would prioritise your child's and family's needs and goals, taking into consideration how your family works. And the idea is that the service would collaborate with you to plan and support your child and family's needs. As I've said, we will use the staff, time and budget resources allocated to us to run these services as efficiently and effectively as possible. And in doing that, also gather information for where we need more resources and present that back to our funders. We are working towards having services for children and families as close to their homes as possible, as soon as possible. So these services will be based in local community network areas. They follow the HSE Community Healthcare network areas. So the services and team for your child will be in the network area closest to your home address. So services will be based on home address, and that's a change for school age services where previously they were based on school address in some areas. So services will be child focused. We will have our networks in place, and we'll use the resources available to us and make cases for additional resources as needed. So what is happening here in Cork, in the Cork Kerry Community Healthcare? So all agencies that you're already familiar with, including the HSE, Enable Ireland, the Brothers of Charity, COPE, St. Joseph's Foundation and Co-Action are working together to form 10 Children's Disability Network teams. In total, there will be 14 teams. So Progressing Disabilities is a programme of service improvement, and as I said, it's being rolled out nationally. So some areas in Ireland already have reconfigured teams, some areas are partially reconfigured. And in Cork and West Cork and Kerry, there is already 4 teams that have been reconfigured. In total, in Cork Kerry, there'll be 14 teams. So, as I've said, all of these agencies, including ourselves here in St. Joseph's Foundation, are working together with you to provide new disability services for your child and family. And all of these organisations have come together under this national initiative. So families are involved with this initiative. We recognise that parents are experts in their children's care, and they know their children's and families' needs best. And for this reason, we have parent representatives from all agencies on the local implementation groups. And where do the local implementation groups fit in? So this slide is just to show you the wider structure. There's 3 local implementation groups with parent representation. There's a North Cork group, North Lee and South Lee group, and Mary and I and Claire are on the North Cork group. They link back with the lead implementation group, where you have representatives from the lead agencies and some of the Children's Disability Network managers working together with a project lead for this service improvement. And that group then report back up to the steering group, which is the CEOs of the organisations and the general manager for disability in disability services in the Cork Kerry area. Okay, And here is where I am going to pass you over to Mary. Mary O'Dwyer, who's a Children's Disability Network Manager for North East Cork and who has been working here in St. Joseph's for a number of years, you're all familiar with. So she's going to take over now.
How do we access supports? Children and young people access supports through the address, their team closest to their home, and it's either through primary care services or the Children's Disability Network team, and this is dependent on the level of need. So we're going to look at both services now and see how they work. And I guess first, just to say about the terms that we're using, their terms such as impairment, functionality, complex, non-complex are not words that we would normally use in discussing the children who attend our service. But these terms have been developed by the World Health Organization and are international classifications of functionality, disability and health. And they're being used in the national documents for PDS. So we're using them as this new service develops nationally, just to give us definition and consistency as the new structures take place. Okay, so primary care services will support children with non-complex needs. And just to give you a definition of what non-complex needs are, they refer to one or more impairments giving rise to functional difficulties which result in mild restrictions in participation in normal daily living. This means that the child may experience mild difficulties in participating in social, educational, family and daily activities, but they will need little assistance to choose, initiate and engage in activities. So primary care children's services are providers of children who need support for daily living activities, learning new skills and social interactions within the following areas: physical, social, communication, emotional and behavior. Primary care services work with children and families. They work independently with each child and family within the current defined local areas. Who are the primary care services? They're physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech and language therapy, psychology, and these disciplines also work closely with other core primary care services such as dietetics, community medical doctors and public health nurses. Where are they located? They operate in defined local areas within North Cork, South Lee and North Lee. And obviously our interest is North Cork, and you're familiar with a lot of those new buildings in Mallow, Charleville. And I guess the one that I would be interested in most is the one in Fermoy, which is being built at the moment. And that's where the Children's Disability Network team will be based, the new primary health care building in Fermoy. That's due to be completed in 2022. So just to give you an example of a child with a non-complex need, in the first example, so this is a child who would have difficulty with communication or speech, and it could be a child that maybe has fluency difficulty or clarity, difficulty with clarity. They can still participate and function in all school and community activities, and their needs would be met by a speech and language therapist working in primary care. And the second example is a child that might have handwriting difficulties. So it might be messy, not clear, and have no other challenges, and their needs will most likely be met by an occupational therapist working in primary care. And they're a child that can still participate fully in school, home activities, go GAA training, that type of thing. So children with non-complex needs have access to individual therapists giving the child and family strategies and goals. So the Children's Disability Network teams are providers of services for children with complex needs, and they're required for activities of daily living, learning new skills, and social interaction within the following areas: behavior, social, communication, physical, and emotional. And to give you a definition of complex needs, this refers to one or more impairments which contribute to a range of significant functional difficulties that require the services and support of an interdisciplinary disability team. This means the child experiences moderate to severe difficulties in participating in social, educational, family and daily activities, and this child would need moderate to maximum assistance to choose, initiate and engage in activities. How does the Children's Disability Network team work with children and families? So this is an interdisciplinary team who work collaboratively with the child and family to identify the needs and priorities of the child and family within a model of family-centered practice. And the Children's Disability Network team is an interdisciplinary team made up of a range of health and social care professionals. And where are they? They operate in defined local areas. So again, it's based on the local home address, and children are assigned to the team that is local to their address. Just to give you a definition of interdisciplinary team, because this is also a new way of working. So it's a number of professionals from different disciplines who work together and share information, decision making, and goal setting. They have common policies and procedures and frequent opportunities for communication. They work with the family and child, all of whom are seen as part of the team, to meet their identified needs with a joint care and support plan. So just to give you another example of that, if the family have identified the need for their child as being communication, that they want the child to engage more at school or with their family, or just be able to explain what their needs are. That is an obvious speech and language therapy goal for the team, but it would also be a goal that the occupational therapist could be working on to possibly identify better seating for the child in the classroom, or seating that they can be at the dining room table with the family in order to improve their and maximize their opportunities for communication. So it's a goal that everybody on the team, no matter what their discipline, will be working on. So this is where the Children's Disability Network teams, what the areas are and where they'll be based. So we have Northwest Cork, which Maeve is the new manager of, and that's Charleville, Buttevant, Kanturk, Mallow, Mill Street and Newmarket. This team will be based ultimately in the Blackwater building in Mallow, which is adjacent to the primary care building in Mallow. Now we're just working on renovating that at the moment. So in the interim, we'll be using Ross House, which is our base in Mallow. We'll hopefully be using some of the HSE rooms in Mallow. And that's it, yeah. And then Northeast Cork, which I'm the manager of, is Castlelyons, Fermoy, Mitchelstown. And as I said, the primary healthcare building will be the base for that team. That won't be ready until 2022. So in the interim, Charleville will be the base, but we'll hopefully, maybe when level 5 restrictions are finished, we'll hopefully be looking at maybe renting some rooms in Fermoy so that we can bring that service closer to that area for families. Just to say about the teams also, as we've explained, it's a lead agency model. So St. Joseph's is the lead agency. Staff are new to all the teams, so they have been brought from all the other agencies in Cork, and they've all been merged together to form these new teams. So we have staff from Enable, Brothers of Charity, Cope, St. Joseph's and the HSE, who will be coming together to form the teams. And this means they will bring their skills and experience with them to form the new team. So that will ensure that every child on the team will have access to those skills. Okay, so some examples of children with complex needs. This is a child with communication and additional needs, for example, social, emotional, play and leisure behavioural, which affect all areas of their development and cause functional and participation restrictions within their home and school and community environments. And the interdisciplinary team works with the child and family to assist them to meet their goals to improve their outcomes in functional participation. Okay, now every child in the Disability Network team will have an individual family service plan, which is an IFSP. And again, this is a collaborative process between the child, the family, and the Children's Disability Network team. Together, the family and the team identify the child and family priorities, and they agree goals and strategies. This is to help your child and family to participate in family and community life. It's recorded in a written plan called an IFSP. This is a live document so that it's constantly being reviewed and updated to reflect the priorities and goals of the family. This is the pathway into services. So a child with non-complex needs will be referred to primary care services, and a child with complex needs will be referred to the Children's Disability Network team. And what I'd like to draw your attention to is the box in the middle, which shows that children can move between primary care services and Children's Disability Network teams, so that if the child's needs increase or decrease, there can be movement between those services. And then at the box at the bottom, that is demonstrating that children will still have access to specialist support services. Traditionally, they have been in the area of the physical needs, autism and behavior. So those staff that were working on those specialist support teams are now part of the Children's Disability Network teams, and their skills can be used as needed by the children. So who will let you know about the child's change of service? So the current service will contact you to let you know where your child's needs will be best met. Your current service provider will ensure that your child's relevant information will be sent to your new service provider, and the contact details of the new service will be given to you. We're looking at this happening in spring, so end of March, beginning of April is when this transition should happen. Just another question about CAMS, the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services. Can they still receive services from primary care or Children's Disability Network team? So if your child is currently attending CAMS, they will remain with CAMS, and they will also transition to the new service, which will be primary care or Children's Disability Network team. They will work jointly together. Did I miss one? So we know that there's going to be challenges. Obviously, there's been challenges all along. Our current challenges are obviously COVID, which has impacted on our services, unfortunately. As many of you are aware, we have long assessment lists, long waiting lists that is really being tackled by the HSE and ourselves as much as we can to try and clear a lot of those assessment waiting lists before we make this transition. And then resources are always difficult, and so this new service is an effort to use our resources as effectively as we can. So we will be working together with you and the other services to make this transition successful, and we're available to guide you or talk to you about any problems you have. You can contact in St. Joseph, you can contact Maeve and myself or Claire, and the HSE services, you can contact your contact person there. So more information, current service provider will keep you informed. We've been sending out the family bulletins to you, and the HSE has a very good website. You can see the address there, www.hse.ie/child disability, and all the information about PDS will be on that. And that's me done. So it's time for questions and answers. So will I let you back here, Maeve? And yeah. Oh. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I'm getting my mask.